Has someone ever said something that's stuck in your head? No matter how much you try, how often you busy yourself with other things, that one sentence just won't go away. That has been me with the Amber Bracelets, one of Conan's most enduring and, at times, frustrating mysteries. That sentence, the one I couldn't shake, came from Arcos the Wanderer, a lonely exile camped in the shadow of the Sentinels.
Once in the north, I saw a few people on the other side, wearing bracelets just like ours, with gems of amber. It makes you wonder.
That was it. I was determined to find these bracelets wherever they may be. I scoured for any scraps of lore, read through loads of discussions on the forums, and got more context on the sentence itself. Many years before, the curse wall had laid on the northern boundary of the desert, but the north had been expanded since then. Did he mean outside the wall as it is now, or did he mean in the Highlands? Well, there's no trace of it in the Highlands, and surely if he meant it was there, the voice line would have been removed, no? So he must have meant outside, as in beyond the exterior curse wall we see now. After hours upon hours of searching, again, reading item descriptions, talking to NPCs, and listening to that same sentence over and over, nothing. I asked friend of the channel Grimdark Half Off, and he thought The Seven Geshes by Clark Ashton Smith might help. Smith's work is referenced at many points in-game, and the story itself sees the protagonist descend into Mount Vermithidreth, where he encounters a character that speaks of the Serpent Men and undertakes some strange experiments. I read it, and though quite a wonderful story, no mention of amber gems. I looked up amber in the wider Conan universe and got nothing relevant. Every single avenue I explored led to a frustratingly empty dead end. So, what happened to the Amber Bracelets? When Arcos first said that sentence, the world of Conan Exiles was quite a different place. As already established, the map was far smaller, the story was far less developed, and the game has evolved a lot since then. Clearly, there must have been some idea behind this dialogue, but what was that idea? Before that, quick shameless self-promo, consider checking out my content over on Patreon where you can get videos early, or just join for free to see video previews and progress logs for the upcoming Settlers Season 4. Plug over, back to the bracelets. Without mind reading, it's kinda hard to say for certain what ideas were behind the Amber Bracelets, but I think we can theorise. At the point of its creation, obviously the game hadn't been fully expanded, but the devs clearly wanted to build up some lore and intrigue for those areas that would be expanded. I think the Amber Bracelets is probably a product of that, a way to build some interest and create story threads the devs could pull on at any point, really. That's also probably the reason why the dialogue wasn't cut when the Northern expansion happened, because even though the context changed, the core message was still the same, as there was still an area outside the Cursed Wall. The sentence itself by Arcos is very non-committal. He doesn't even theorise what the gems could do, and let's be honest, Conan's storytelling is not always on the nose. It's very indirect and deliberately vague at times, often to drum up theories and ideas like this, with the byproduct of having more flexibility if the devs tug on that thread years after it was created. What adds to that even more is that the Amber Bracelets are only ever mentioned once by Arcos. Nobody else seems to have heard of them, or they're certainly not talking about them if they had. They're sort of like the Exile Lands equivalent of hearing a weird rumour that you just can't confirm. Arcos doesn't even theorise what the Amber Gems could mean, he just says, it makes you wonder. I think this was almost definitely something written to set up the devs in the future and leave an open lane the story could go down as and when necessary. Much like the disjunction and various other oddities, it's left nice and vague to create some intrigue, but also allow it to be explored more freely in the future. As for what those Amber Bracelets could be in-universe, well, that's anyone's guess. It could be that the slave bracelets, when deactivated, turn from green to amber. They could be a communication device, a leftover relic from the Lemurian population after the war with the Giant Kings. It could even be an entirely separate prison right next to the Exiled Lands, perhaps again controlled by Tarthamon. I think you can probably theorise all day about it, and a lot of them would likely make a fair bit of sense. Altogether, the Amber Bracelets are one of Conan's strangest mysteries, but what actually happened to them? In summary, I think they were mostly written as an open avenue for the developers to explore as and when the time came. It is a relic of earlier development when the story was far younger and smaller, and though it hasn't been explored yet, it realistically could be picked up at almost any point. It is one of Conan's many dangling threads, and though I did spend tens if not hundreds of hours scouring forums and reading item descriptions trying to find what they are, I don't actually think their purpose has been written as of yet. The amber bracelets have intrigued me for years at this point, and I didn't want to make a video on them until I had some solid answers, but I just don't think there are any to show. I'm not sure when or if the amber bracelets will be built upon, but people have asked me to look into this over the years, and I promised I would, but alas, this lead quickly evaporates into an uncertain mist, but I do hope we'll see a little more of these at some point down the road. If there's something that you think I've missed or something I haven't quite picked up on, do let me know in the comments. This is probably one of my favourite topics in the entire game, so if you've got new insight, I'd love to hear it. Anyway, that will wrap us up for today. Thanks for watching, and a massive thanks to our wonderful esteemed coffee cultists for continuing to support the channel over on Patreon. If you want to support the channel here on YouTube and get some exclusive perks, take a look at the new channel memberships available by clicking join just below this video. Take care, and I'll see you soon.